Don't be ridiculous. This is unacceptable. You know what? I don't need you anymore. You mean nothing to me now. I'm not wasting my money on someone useless like you. I'm divorcing you. Take this and leave. I understand. I'm fine with leaving. There's no point in us talking like this anymore. Let's handle it through our lawyers later. And I'll start the divorce process right away. I picked up the bags I had already packed and left the house. My name is Bridget. I'm a mother of 2 grown children. My youngest just graduated from university and started working. Now, I'm ready to start a new chapter in my life. If Stephen and I had a happy marriage, we might have planned to spend our later years together peacefully, but I have no intention of doing that. Our relationship has been cold for a long time. Still, it wasn't always like this. I used to love Stephen and admired his intelligence. I dreamed of a happy life with him forever. But after 35 years of marriage, I discovered his true feelings. To him, I was just a tool to help grow his company. When we met, Stephen's business was already doing well. From the outside, we looked like a perfect couple. 10 years into our marriage, our first son, Joshua, was born. 2 years later, our second son, Liam, came along. That's when Stephen's real intentions became clear. 2 boys. Well done, Bridget. Now my company is safe. One of them will take over my business in the future. At first, I thought he was joking. But as our children grew, he started pressuring them to run the company. Stephen, parents shouldn't control their kids' lives. It's their decision what path they want to take. You don't get it. It's normal for parents to pave the way for their kids. I don't disagree with helping them. But it's up to them to decide which path to follow. Stephen just laughed and said something that shocked me. Do you know why I married you? What do you mean? Because you're the granddaughter of a major bank chairman. Financial connections are crucial for a business. I know that. We had an arranged marriage. I understood you saw some benefits in me. Not just that, you're the smartest woman I've ever met. I wanted good genes for my children. If both parents are intelligent, there's a better chance the kids will be smart too, and that's good for my business. Is that really why you married me? Of course, why else? When my youngest was 2, Stephen's words crushed me. Yes, I admired his determination and hard work in building his company. But I never thought he saw me as nothing more than a way to create smart children for his business. My mind went blank for a moment, but I couldn't stay that way. I had 2 children to raise, and I needed to make sure they grew into capable adults. From that day on, I worked hard for my kids. It wasn't easy, but my husband was right about one thing. Both of them were incredibly smart from a young age. Luckily, my husband and I had overlapping goals. He wanted to raise a brilliant successor for his company, and I wanted to focus on giving my children the best education possible. We had different reasons, but the same solution: spend money on education. To my husband, paying for their education was like making an investment. And it paid off. They became outstanding university students, just as he had hoped. One day, when Joshua, my eldest son, was in elementary school, he asked me, "Mom, do I have to work for Dad's company when I grow up?" "Joshua," I said, "it's your life. You should do what you want to do. As long as you live responsibly and don't harm others, Mommy will be happy with whatever career you choose. Remember, your life is yours, okay?" "Okay, then, Mommy, I'll tell you my secret. I want to be." Joshua had a dream even as a young boy, but he never shared it with his father. He was smart enough to know his dad wouldn't approve. In the end, Joshua followed his dream. He passed the bar exam after university and became a lawyer. Ironically, I was a lawyer too before I got married. And Joshua had always been curious about my work. Now, he runs his own law firm with a former classmate and stays very busy. When my husband found out, he was furious. "You never told me you were going to be a lawyer. Why didn't you join my company? Do you know how much money I've spent on you? Quit that law firm and come work for me." My husband couldn't understand our children's choices, because he never truly spent time with them. He only saw them as heirs to his business. But Joshua stood his ground. "Father, do you really want me to stop being a lawyer? If I do well as a lawyer, I might be able to help your company in the future. Right now, you spend a lot of money on legal counsel. If I become a better lawyer, I could support your company someday. Wouldn't that be better?" That response caught my husband off guard. His frustration faded, and he seemed to accept it for the moment. However, I know Joshua has no intention of joining his father's company. For now, though, my husband chose to believe that he might someday. I knew my husband was thinking about how my eldest son, Joshua, might help his company in the future. But there was another, more important reason for his confidence: our second son, Liam. Liam was different from Joshua, but just as talented in his own way. My husband believed Liam, who would graduate from university in 2 years, would be a perfect fit to join the company. Because of what happened with Joshua, my husband made sure to remind Liam that it was his duty to join the business. Liam said he understood, which seemed to put my husband at ease. Liam, however, has always been his own person. Even as a child, he had a strong and independent personality. In kindergarten, he didn't always join the other kids in their activities, he did what he liked. But that didn't mean he was difficult. He played alone during recess, but in class, he worked well with others. One day, I found him standing by a tree after school. "Liam, honey, what are you doing?" "Mom, I'm a tree right now. I don't understand human language." "Oh, I see, but Mr. Tree, it's time to go home now, can you get ready for that?" "Okay." Liam was certainly unique, and he followed his own interests. He loved plants and nature from a young age. He even studied Chinese and Spanish so he could read research reports from other countries. After high school, Liam went abroad to study at a university. My husband was thrilled and said, "A multilingual business owner will take my company to the next level." But after graduating, Liam didn't come back to join the company. Instead, he started working at a research institute overseas. Of course, my husband was furious. "You promised me you'd join the company, come back right now." He kept calling Liam, demanding an answer. "Liam, when are you coming back?" Soon, I guess." "Enough, stop joking around and come home." "I'll come home when I'm done studying." "Liam, knock it off." My husband's frustration was partly because of the company's worsening financial situation. He didn't talk to me about it, but Joshua told me the truth. I think that's why he couldn't handle what he saw as Liam betraying him. Honestly, I don't care about my husband's company. I've raised my children, and since Liam was born, my husband and I have barely spoken. I'm grateful to him for supporting our children's education. But now that they're grown, there's no reason for me to stay. I've been waiting for the right moment to divorce him. I told both of my children how I felt, and they supported my decision. With nothing holding me back, I was ready to move forward. And the opportunity came sooner than I expected. "Bridget, I need to talk to you. Take a seat," my husband said one day. "All right," I replied. He placed a file on the table and continued. "It's unfortunate how things turned out with our children. But thank you for your 35 years of hard work. Thank you as well for funding their education," I said. "So, let's think about the rest of our lives, shall we?" "Yes, let's." Without hesitation, he handed me the divorce papers. "Don't worry, I'm not leaving you with nothing," my husband said. "I'll give you $30,000 to cover your immediate expenses." "What?" I snapped. "You think you can make up for 35 years of my life with just $30,000? Why not? You've had a good life so far." "A good life? Are you serious? All you've ever done is push our children to take over your company. They have their own dreams." "Enough, I've paid for everything, so it's only fair." "No, it's not. Parents should invest in their children's futures. But not to force them into a life they didn't choose. You and I see the world so differently, it's been unbearable living with you. Don't act high and mighty, you should be thankful for the money. I want proper compensation, not your handouts. You're a businessman, you know the rules. You're offering me $30,000 for my share of everything? That's ridiculous." "Yes, you spent money on our kids, but I handled everything else for them and for you. Who made it possible for you to focus on your work all these years without a single worry? When a marriage ends, property should be divided equally, that's the law. Stop spouting nonsense, I'm not giving you a cent more. Common property is split 50-50, that's how it works." "Fine, I'll agree to the divorce, but don't expect me to roll over. We'll have the property settled properly by law." At this point, his face turned bright red, and he started yelling. "You're ridiculous, this is unacceptable. You're worthless to me now, nothing but a burden. I'm not giving my money to someone as useless as you. Take this, sign the papers, and get out of my house." "I have no objection to leaving," I replied calmly. "This conversation is pointless. We'll settle the details through lawyers. I'll take care of the paperwork right away. With that, I grabbed the luggage I had already packed and left. I went straight to my eldest son's house nearby. So, Dad asked for the divorce? Joshua asked when I arrived. Yeah, I nodded. It's happening for sure now. I picked up the divorce papers my husband had handed me. As I flipped them over, I noticed a sticky note stuck to the back. What's this? I mumbled, taking a closer look. Then it hit me. Oh, is this what I think it is? Without wasting a moment, I called Joshua and showed it to him. I knew it, he exclaimed. The rumors were true. Mom, you need to call the police. What? Why? I asked, confused. In this case, we'll actually need to involve the IRS and the prosecutor's office. Don't worry, I'll handle it, Joshua assured me. But, should I still call the police? Yes, Mom, he said firmly. It's important to have a record that you reported this. Oh, okay, you're right. 2 weeks later, my husband was arrested for fraud. He had set up a fake business venture and swindled hundreds of millions of dollars from a bank. When he realized the fraud might be exposed, he even ordered his staff to destroy key documents. That sticky note on the back of the divorce papers had exposed everything. To me, my husband wasn't just someone I had been married to for decades, he was a criminal. The divorce went through shortly after his arrest. His company went bankrupt, and he had to sell off all his assets to repay the stolen money. But even then, it wasn't enough to cover the full amount. I was worried about how my eldest son, Joshua, would be affected by his father's imprisonment. But ironically, it made him a hero in the public eye for standing up and helping to expose his father's crimes. As for me, I never received my share from my broke ex-husband. Honestly, it wasn't something I was concerned with. What mattered most was helping refund the victims of his fraud. I'm not practicing law anymore, but I'm advising at my eldest son's firm. And I'm really grateful to be back in the workforce. 3 years later, my ex-husband was released from prison. My children reached out to him right away. My second son even came back home. And they both went to pick their father up when he was released. They said their father thanked them. He surprisingly refused their help, though. I'm glad to hear that, in the end, he showed some fatherly care. I've heard he's working hard now to pay off his debts in his old age. My life and my ex-husband's will never cross paths again. I hope this whole experience helps him reflect on his life. Once, my ex-husband sent me a letter through my eldest son. But I chose not to read it. My eldest son insisted I should, as if he knew what it said. But I refused. I know he meant well, and I understand why he offered it. I'm sure the letter was an apology for our marriage. But I won't accept it. He'll feel better thinking he's apologized. But I'm not going to make it easy for him. This is my small act of revenge, a little price to pay for 35 years of my life. Now, I want to live the rest of my life peacefully and righteously. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.